And we are live. What's going on, guys? Hi, this is OJ with Light, and welcome to Late Nights with Light. In this podcast or talk show, we talk about being attractive, better nudes, and we talk a little bit about the big three guys, Good Looking Loser, Alex Mosey, and Dan Candy. So those are the people whose work I reference, a few others. Tonight, I have something super special planned. Alright, so, take a drink of water here, and then we're going to get going on this. Alright, so, I have a interesting question. Okay. Actually, let me kind of back up. I'm gonna explain how this pod or this idea for this particular episode came to be, came to life. So, one of my guys got in a jam. Okay. Got in a jam. And I'm not going to go into great detail about what the jam is, but they asked a question and they say, what do I say? Okay. And I think that's the wrong question. And I hear this a lot. Like, you see a girl, you're like, what do I say? You're trying to make a sale. What do I say? If lifting weights had something to do with speaking, people would ask, what do I say? Okay, that's the wrong question. It's the wrong question. Okay, and this framework, I want to present a framework that we're gonna be working on over the next 6 months. It's kind of gonna be like the framework we use to incorporate a lot of the stuff I talk about. Right. So this is the framework. So like I said, a lot of people ask, what do I say? A better question would be, what do I do? Right? That's a better question. And the best question, and this is what we're going to get at, is how should I think about this? How should I see this problem? How should I think about it? Okay, that's the real question. That's the question. That's the $1 million question. Okay, so let me rephrase it. Your worldview. This is how it should go. This is how you're thinking you should go. Your worldview, the things you're thinking, your attitudes, your thoughts, all that, should precede all any action you take in any way in your imagery. And when I mean imagery is how you present yourself to the world, right? So if you dress like a biker, or you dress like a businessman, or you dress like a rock star, right? That's your image, right? That's what I'm talking about. And your actions and your imagery should be downstream from your worldview, okay? Your subtext, as I like to use. And then the words you use, the language you use, the verbal language you use should be downstream from what you do and how you present yourself, okay? And it definitely should be downstream from your subtext, okay? Your subtext, okay? And the reason this is important, guys, is I'm sure if you pay attention, you will see two people do the same thing or say the same thing, maybe do even the same person, and they will get grossly different results. And that has to do with the subtext. Okay. Now, I'm gonna rephrase this a little bit differently so you can see what I'm saying. Okay. This is a little bit of you gotta think about what I'm saying here. So, is an attractive person attractive because they go to the gym, or do they go to the gym because they're attractive? Okay, So, in other words, does the working out result in attractiveness, or does being attractive result in you wanting to work out? So, the way I view the world. A lot of people think the only reason that you'll hear this. A lot of people say this. The only reason that person's so good looking is because they work out. No, I don't. I think that's backwards. What I think is, I think people work out because they're already attractive. Okay, and let me explain what I think attractive means. I kind of take the Dan Kennedy's approach of what attractive means. It's like a spiritual quality. Okay, being attractive is like a spiritual quality, right? I call it the glow. You'll hear me say the glow a lot. They glow, okay? And what I think them working out is them expressing, putting that attractive quality into reality through working out. That's actually what I think is going on. Okay, I think people get it backwards. You need to become like. Why is it some people can stick to working out and others can't? I think some people have I call it the attractive quality. It's like it's for lack of a better word. You have a spiritual quality about yourself that makes you attractive, and this quality wants to express itself through working out or through dressing up or whatever your medium is. Okay, that's how I actually view it. Okay, and this is a very different way of looking at the world. It's almost backwards, and I've noticed a lot of times I think people kind of get the cause and effect in real life backwards. They think the effect, that what they think is the effect was really the cause, and what they think is the cause was really the effect. I think a lot of people get it backwards in life, and so that is the framework I want us to use on becoming attractive, right? Subtext that bleeds into your actions and imagery, which then bleeds into the language that you use, okay? So that's the framework. Now, I'm going to read from, I have all the blog posts of my mentor, Good Looking Loser. And tonight we're going to be reading his very first blog post, which is called Get Laid or Get Lost Mindset. Okay? And this kind of goes into, you're going to see what I mean. This goes into the subtext. And there's really, it sounds weird. This is his first post, and it's not his best post, but there's a particular line in here that is very, very important. Okay? And when we get to it, I'll highlight that line. So, this is from Chris. Okay? If you're going to try to meet girls and get laid, I have a mantra that I suggest you follow. Get laid or get lost. Get laid or get lost means that every girl that you approach, you take the mentality that you are either going to get laid or the girl can get lost and not waste your time. There are only a handful of guys that I know that sleep with hot girls consistently, and they all have this mentality. This is an aggressive approach that legit players have each time they speak to a girl that they want to bang. With this mentality, you will never be put in the friend zone or waste your time in a pointless interaction with some non-sexual or boring girl. Taking this aggressive mentality and living by it will get you more pussy and probably money than you ever had. It will also screen out or get you rejected by non-sexual, boring, or emotionally unhealthy girls that you want to avoid in the first place. So it's really a win-win once you internalize this attitude. Okay. So Chris actually kind of words that I actually have a very. This is what made me really fall in love with Good Looking Loser, this particular post. And there's more to it, but let me kind of give a little commentary. I have a very similar mentality, but I word it a little bit differently. I word it much differently. And it's probably because this was something I got from Caleb Jones. Caleb words it a little bit differently, but this is the metaphor I use. I'm going on a grand adventure, and I'm inviting you to come with. You can either come with me or you can stay here, but I'm going, right? That's kind of the mentality I take, right? But it's the same thing. It's I'm going in this direction. You can come with me or not, but I'm going, okay? So that's a very unique, not unique. It's just a different mentality. A lot of people they waste so much time on shit that's not just a time waster. So really, you gotta just I'm going in this direction. Do you want to come with? That's it. It's leading forward. I call it the grand adventure, but we're talking about the same thing. It's just his and my wording are different. So let's continue on. A lot of people looking for advice on sex and dating are looking for certain pickup lines or techniques that will help them never get rejected. That doesn't exist. Unfortunately, simply avoiding rejection doesn't help you get girls. It's also a sign of a very fragile ego. You need to be aggressive and assertive in your interactions to get laid on a regular basis. Okay, that's a big theme from him: aggressive and assertiveness. So that kind of goes into your actions, right? But you need the subtext first, and that's what we're talking about here. The goal of your interaction isn't to convince a girl that you are friendly and safe enough to have a conversation with. The goal of your interaction is to find out whether the girl has a personality, sense of humor, and sexual freedom, or whatever else that you are looking for. Your interaction should come. This is the key line. This is the line. Your interaction should come from a position of power, not fear. I want to stop right there. Okay. This is such an important piece of advice. Okay, this is probably like the most important sentence out of that whole thing. So when you do something, I want you to think about this. This is the question I want you to always ask yourself. Always ask yourself. I don't care if you're about to do something, or you're going to do a particular, or avoid something. It could be a no too. If you're avoiding or going to do something, do something, make yourself look a certain way, or say something. Any of those three. So your image, your actions, or your language. Before you open your mouth, before you put that piece of clothing on, before you take that action, or you do the reverse, you do the opposite. I want you to ask this question: am I doing this out of fear, or am I doing this out of power? Okay, so not 80% of the times, people are doing it out of fear. So you probably should do the opposite. Okay, but if you are doing it in a position of power, so okay, a position of power, because some people saying, because let me give you an example. We all understand doing something in a position of power, but what about avoiding something in a position of power? That's kind of what I want to make sure we all understand. So Alex Hormozi puts it the best. I think he interacts with something from a position of power, and it's usually no. No, I'm not going to do that because I have to do this. I'm not going to get... So saying no to distractions is a power play, okay? Anytime you say no to a distraction, that's a power play. If you have a particular goal in mind and you say no to the distraction, that's a power play. Okay. If you do the opposite, that's an action out of fear. So, again, this was a killer sentence I read. Anytime you take an action, say something, or dress a certain way, I want you to ask, am I doing this out of fear? If the answer is yes, you need to do the opposite of whatever you were just thinking of. And if it's a power play, go ahead. That is like the mentality you gotta have to be attractive. Now I'm gonna go on and continue reading from this, okay guys? So where was I at? Okay, I'll reread it. Your interaction should come from a position of power, not fear. It's going to take some practice, though, especially if you've been playing not to lose with chicks or trying to overcome some passive nice guy tendencies. Okay, that's I hear that phrase a lot. Not playing not to lose. That's a huge. That's a huge. You always want to play for the win. You always want to play for the win. So that means to take the risk. Okay, that's a far more attractive quality than avoiding the loss. Because that's what a lot of people do. They avoid the loss. It's like somebody who sticks with a job that they're never going to get a promotion at because they're afraid if they go to another company, they'll not make it there. That's a playing not to lose mentality. So you need to make sure that you are always playing to win and that you're not doing things out of fear. So let's keep reading this article. Okay, what's that at? All right. This is one of those issues that took me a while. God, I hate that when people write in purple. This is one of the issues that took me a while to overcome. In fact, it was probably the biggest issue preventing me from banging the top tier girls that I wanted. Like most people, I was raised by a good family. Sorry, the English is a little fucked up. Taught me to be considerate and respectful to everyone, especially women. While that's all well and good, it doesn't exactly lay the foundation or build upon an aggressive alpha male attitude and persona that I needed to get busy with elite girls on the first night or at all. Girls would quickly profile me as boyfriend material and would make me work for sex, multiple dates, emotional investment, blah blah blah, since I was scared of rejection. I would play the game not to lose, totally subverted to a girl and her timetable for sex. Well, that resulted in low levels of rejection. It was also resulted in a very mundane and sometimes non-existent sex life. I also had no chance of pulling the smoking hot girls I wanted out of the bars, let alone get their numbers. Hot girls don't want to fuck passive nice guys. It took a lot of work, but I eventually adapted and found that taking a more aggressive mentality ended up scoring me the hotter, more sexual girls that I wanted. So that's no questions. Alright, story time. I know somebody that wasted 6, 8, somewhere in that time frame, months on a girl that was never gonna fuck him. And I wish they had read this article. Anyways, let's get back to this. We're almost done with this article. Get laid or get lost doesn't mean you should strive to become an over-the-top pervert. It means when you meet a girl you want to bang, you should avoid the boring, generic... I like this. This is something I do. Avoid the boring, generic topics and instead take the lead by introducing flirtatious, sexually charged conversation while also seeing how the girl responds to your physical advances. You can have all the generic small talk once you've screened her. Sorry. She is receptive. If a girl isn't receptive to your advances, don't apologize. Just move on and talk to another one. She's lame, not you. She can get lost. It can take a while to have this new attitude come off with confidence and not look arrogant, rude, or creepy. It's a process. But remember, in this game, it's always better to be too aggressive than too passive. If you lose the girl by being too aggressive, then so be it. If you lose the girl by being too much of a pussy, that's not good. Having balls or social courage is the number one thing you need to get girls. Balls. Not funny lines, interesting stories, designer clothes, a lot of friends with money. Being aggressive and creeping out a girl or having a girl call you a douchebag is not the worst thing in the world. Really isn't. At worst, it's embarrassing and temporary. The worst thing in the world is being submissive, lonely, undersexed, and scared of women. Even if you just want a girlfriend and you're not trying to become some player who bangs hundreds of girls, you still need to have balls. Otherwise, you'll end up being a little bitch boy to your girlfriend or wife, and she'll lose respect for you and start looking for other options. Please believe girls like jerks and bad boys when you're practicing being a jerk. Just try not to be a huge asshole. But even if you do, it's not the worst thing in the world. Once you get good at this, you'll be getting a lot of pussy, and eventually you'll have the opportunity to tag more girls than you can handle. It can be more effective to weed out the girls you don't like or not incompatible with. For example, if you're already getting a ton of pussy and you want to have a laid-back personality and you like more mellow girls, you should probably be extremely very laid-back in your interactions, laid-back enough to cause high-energy girls to walk. Another example, I'm not going to read this part on YouTube. Okay, but anyways, that is the last sentence. I'll read it. Another example, a buddy of mine in Los Angeles does a lot of cocaine. He wants to make sure the girls that he's seeing either do it or won't be bugged with him about it. So after he meets a girl, he tells them a story about how he does drugs at a Thanksgiving dinner because of his family meals are so awkward. The girl is either laughs, is interested, or thinks it's bad and walks off shortly. It's a great filter system. I have a very similar filter system. Not that extreme, but those type of girls often require an extended process of courting, emotional commitment, or a high amount of tolerance to deal with the baggage and psychological issues. Leave these girls to the desperate guys. Okay? So, I have a very similar, so two things, there's a lot of things that go in there. One moment. So let's back up. Okay, so the screening process. This makes sense. So I salsa dance and I go to the gym, right? So if I ever met a girl who did not like me working out and doing salsa dancing, she got to go. She got to go, right? Got to go. So that's the screening process, right? You'll know if someone prevents you from doing an activity that you like, got to go. That's pretty much, guys, the article that I wanted to read from Good Looking Loser. It is, like I said, really based on the mentality thing, and I think the two big winning statements out of that are the do your interactions from a power play, not a position of fear, and the other thing would be having a filter that screens out people you don't want in your life. Okay, that's basically the two big lessons I get out of this. Okay. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. So this was the last thing I wanted to say, okay? Because they brought up a different point about boring conversations. I fucking hate when I'm talking to anyone. I fucking hate when I talk to anyone and it moves into work. I hate that. Fucking hate that. That's a dead conversation for me, man. And I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that. It is a dead conversation. The second thing is, this is a little tactic I learned, okay? Let's say you're chatting up somebody and you want to know if she, I'm not going to say likes you, but is comfortable being touched by you. This is what I do. I literally put out my hand like this, and I see if she grabs and holds it. That's a very simple. This probably is somebody you might have seen a couple times, or you chatted a little bit, and you're just not sure if it's something's there or not. You just put your hand out and see if she like almost like you like it's a gesture that you want her to take your hand like a hand hold, and if they do it, I'm not gonna say it's a green light, but it's definitely not a red light. Okay, and if they give you a really bad look, it's a red light. Okay, I kind of take the position you're not looking for green lights. You just keep going until you hit a red light. That's basically my philosophy of everything. Well, anyways, guys, that's gonna be for tonight's show. That's actually all I had. Oh, let's talk about working out. Let's talk about working out. Flying that. Just a little update. I did traps, lats, and quads today, and I am just sore as fuck, guys. Sore as fuck. Um, Good workouts. The summer is over. The summer is over. So that means I am now back on the very strict eating habits, which is never fun. And we're gonna just slim on down. I'm trying to be 200 pounds by next Memorial Day. So that's what I'm going for. We'll see if I get there this year. And I will have more kick-ass stuff for you guys in the next few weeks. So this is OJ Light, and thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys on the next live stream. Out.